the big fella not coming with us?
No, he's minding the car.
What do you think we are? Thieves?
I know, nothing like that, Miss O'Neill. He just likes looking after cars.
Get dags. Do you like dags?
Dags.
What?
Yeah, dags.
Dags. Do you like dags?
Oh, dogs. Sure. I like dags. I like caravans more.
You're very welcome.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas. I'm joined by my co-host.
Hey, man.
Nick.
I was so caught off guard. But honestly, that was perfect.
How you guys doing tonight?
I'm gonna call you Mickey, bro.
You like dags?
You like dags.
Dude, that's... If you couldn't have had trouble understanding that intro, then...
Watch this movie.
Man, do we got a doozy of a film for you.
Seriously, my goodness. The pikey accent, man.
Yeah.
What would you compare that accent to?
Yeah, I mean, like the movie says, like it's not English, it's not Irish, it's like a weird in between.
Yeah.
It's its own thing. It's pikey.
Yeah.
It's trailer park.
Yeah.
Hard to understand. That's all I know.
Yeah. I would assume it's like almost the same thing as like Southern accents. You know, like when
Yo,
people got
but I
that
can understand that.
but people got like the heavy Southern accents. Like think of like Homeboy from Joe Dirt when he's like,
Oh, and he's like,
Homeboy Mike.
He's
Yeah.
like, you like?
Yeah. And he's like, you're like, what? You know, like
Yeah,
I kind of assume it's like under maybe that same vein, you know?
Yeah. Just people who don't. I feel like they just don't even care. It's
Yeah.
like I have my 5 people who understand me, and that's all I need.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like my niece and nephew. My niece ends up being my nephew's translator a lot of the time because my nephew like is still learning how to like speak in full sentences and really enunciate words. And so he'll say things and I'm like, what did you say? And then my niece will come in and be like, he said this. And then he'll be like, yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
Same thing going on here, man.
But anyways, talking about Abe's pick.
Yeah. I chose the movie Snatch. It came out in 2000. It is written and directed by Guy Ritchie. And gosh, this movie is all over the place.
Yeah, it's an everything movie.
Yeah.
It is an everything movie.
Like it's
you've heard of the Everything Bagel seasoning?
Yeah,
This is the movie.
It's got everything. It's
Yeah.
got gangsters. It's got crime. It's got comedy. It's got heists. It's got fighting. It's got guns. It's got anything you name it.
Mm-hmm.
It's got dags.
Did you say comedy?
Yeah.
A little bit of comedy in there. Man, we went into this knowing nothing, and I feel like I should have known something.
Yeah, dude. Seriously.
You know what I mean?
Because the whole time I was just like,
What is happening?
what is this leading to? I'm so like I usually don't get lost in movies, and I could follow the plot like somewhat, but I was just like the whole time being like, when is this all gonna tie together?
Yeah, seriously. I kept asking myself, what is Jason Statham's character doing?
Yeah, he's just
Who is
there.
this guy?
He's just there to stand around.
He looks like a
And be like,
detective.
When those sausages ready?
5 minutes. You said 5 minutes 2 minutes ago.
It was 5 minutes 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's like,
You said you'd have the sausages ready, and it's like, oh what? It's not. Yeah.
I was asking myself that entire time. But I figured, honestly.
Why do you got a gun in your trousers? For protection. Protection from what?
Oh, what does he say all the time? Before the Germans get here.
Yeah, before the Germans.
Oh, yeah.
He always says Z German.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tries to do like the German accent, you know.
I feel like this movie would have been better if I had known the director a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because is this how he just directs? And,
I've heard
and
that.
Edits.
I've heard that this is pretty par for the course in regards to like his style.
Okay.
So
Guy Ritchie's need to step it up.
you know what would have made this movie better if Michael Caine was in it.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, Alfred.
Birdman?
No,
No.
That's Michael Keaton.
Yeah, it's
Michael
Michael Keaton.
Michael Caine. You know him.
Michael Caine.
He's Alfred from Batman.
Oh.
And he's in The Prestige.
Yeah. Or Christopher Walken being in it would have been better.
Dude. I would have loved to have heard his accent.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
But yeah, this movie is a piece of work. We're gonna work through it together.
Yes, sir.
So, what's this movie about, Abe?
Shoot.
I mean, we kind of said it's got everything.
It's got everything. So basically, the way that I thought it was about, or think it's about 3 different groups who are somehow all tied together, but not. And they're all after this 84-carat stone.
Massive diamond.
Yeah.
Massive diamond. I'm surprised I didn't see Howie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, trying to
Here.
get that uncut gem.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I didn't see him here and say, oh, I can't say it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Oh,
But you basically, you get introduced to these two people, and you get introduced to this person, and then this person. Like a whole chain of people. And somehow this person works for this person, or this person owes this person money, and yeah, I don't know.
yeah. It's a bunch of loose threads of characters, and then they slowly weave
Start
together
to-
like towards the end.
Yeah. Start to integrate.
And then you're like, these people, now I kind of know them a little bit more. Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Except
But
I
man,
couldn't
at the
do any
beginning,
of
you're
that.
like, there's
Yeah.
so many threads, I can't follow
They're
all
like-
these things.
It's like, like whenever you make spaghetti and you got to throw the pasta on the wall to see if it sticks. Imagine somebody taking a fistful of spaghetti noodles, packing it into a shotgun, and just shooting you with it and seeing if anything sticks.
Yep.
That's the beginning of this film.
Seriously.
And just being like, hey, let's throw all this stuff at you and see if you catch it. Bro! And yeah, it's
Some
a
people
wild
caught
ride.
it, man. It missed me.
Yeah.
They missed me there.
It went
Yeah.
right through me.
Oh,
I got shot, and I didn't survive.
Yeah. Well, let's break it down a little bit. I mean, it's streaming on Netflix currently.
It's streaming on Netflix. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Don't let our interpretation of this movie or
How
what
we
we think
feel
about this
sway
movie.
you.
Yeah.
Check it out for yourself. Come to your own conclusion.
Just our opinions.
I just know I'm gonna have a good conversation with my boss.
Yeah.
And be
y'all
like,
y'all know this is just our opinion, right?
That's my
This is not canon.
No,
It's canon. It's canon to the Film Bros lore here,
Very true.
here in the Film Bros studios.
Yes. But
But,
other than that,
It's not the end all be all.
no.
Yeah, just don't go to
Cinema-
Europe.
Cinema, yeah, cinema's going to be different for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to like certain things. People are not going to like certain things. Well, some things that I think are 10s, people hate.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
So
I recently came across someone who didn't like The Lighthouse.
yeah, that's insane to me.
And I was like,
who me?
no, it was someone on YouTube. Someone,
Whoa.
yeah, who had a lot of followers. And I was like,
Oh wow.
really? That's interesting. And they've backed it up and all that stuff, but I loved it. So
Yeah.
I couldn't agree. So there is
Yeah.
people who
I,
like certain things and who don't. So
Speaking of the Lighthouse, I have a tote bag, and somebody had saw it and commented on it, and they were like, "Oh, that's that weird movie. I didn't like that one."
seriously?
And and I was like, "Oh, I loved every minute of it." And they were like, "How?" And I was like, "Everything that you just said about it that you didn't like, I loved it. like
It worked.
It all worked for me.
Yeah.
It makes me want to go back to it." So,
Mhm.
yeah. But I guess with that being said, we can kind of break this down a little bit if you guys want to.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
Let's get in.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's
Get
dive.
into it. Yeah.
I'm diving in. You heard that song?
Is
Have you
that
ever heard
your
that song?
I know what song you're talking about.
I'm going deep.
I'm
In my
going
head, I'm moving.
Isn't that
Oh!
Steven Curtis Chapman or
Yeah,
something like that? Dude,
yeah.
I saw him
Exactly
in
what you're
concert.
talking about.
Dude. I
I'm
thought
diving in.
for a second I thought you were gonna sing that song. And I get down, but I get up again.
Oh,
You're never
that-
gonna keep me down.
Yeah.
That's like a montage song, huh?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were about to sing.
All right, well, let's get into this. So,
Skipping you might feel like, you got anything?
Isaiah, you got any favorite scenes?
I do, but it's not until a little bit into the movie. I want to say maybe 15 or 20 minutes.
I
Okay.
do not have any favorite scenes in this movie, so this is a category for you guys.
Okay, I have one, and it's the introduction to, I wouldn't even say the movie, but just to the introduction to the gem or the diamond that they're trying to steal.
Okay.
There's these like Jewish guys coming in. It looks like they're really late for their appointment, and they're coming in. They're going through all these doors to get through security and all that, and they get like metal detector checked. And someone finds something, and he goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Like under their garb, and they get all the way in, and I guess they know him.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Oh, what are you waiting for?" And then he opens his like robe that he had on, and it's full of weapons.
Yeah.
And immediately it goes into this like extremely violent and brash editing.
Yeah.
And just they're getting all these people down, and I was like, is this how the movie is gonna be? This is overwhelming.
You know what
Yeah.
it reminded me of, or at least the editing style for this, because I feel like the trailer. We watched the trailer, and the trailer kind of like has the same editing style throughout the film. It reminded me of that old piracy commercial, where it's like, you know, the jump cuts in and out, and it's all and it's like piracy is not a victimless
That's what I
crime.
thought of it.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you see that guy like in the black hoodie like stuffing the thing, and he runs over to his computer, and it's got like the red X crossbones flashing on the screen, and
Yeah, the action here reminded me of that as well. It's just like there's every time they go to hit someone with the gun, it cuts and they're on the floor.
Yeah.
And it's like cameras zooming in, cameras brash cutting, cameras doing all this thing, and the soundtrack in the background too. I'm just sitting here like, is this how this is going to be?
It's definitely a style.
It is a style.
It's definitely a style, and that's one thing I'll give this movie credit for, is that it has a style.
True.
And sometimes that's really hard to nail.
True.
Like and I can respect, you know, a director taking creative risks, or, you know, putting their creativity into a film through a style like this. Like I think of immediately, you know, you know, all the big directors, like, you know, let's say like a Quentin Tarantino, or a, you know, a Jordan Peele, or, you know, any director that you can watch their movie and be like, I know that is immediately this person's movie. And a lot of the times it really works for a film. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not a fan of Guy Ritchie's style.
Yeah.
I guess I'd have to watch more of his movies to really figure out if that's something that I like or not, because this is the only one I've ever seen. So
I've seen Sherlock Holmes a long time ago.
I have.
And
I have seen
remember-
Sherlock, and I remember liking Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I think it's just because Robert Downey Jr. kind of carries a lot of
But
that
I remember,
charisma.
I remember liking like the whole like slow down, like
yeah, and
we're
where he
gonna
sits
do
there
all
and he's
this
like,
and like analyzing like where he's gonna hit and do all this stuff and everything, and then doing it. I always thought that was super sick.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not sure if this is like all of how his films are. Or not.
I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure.
Was caught off guard heavily. I was like, what? Like, I didn't even know what I was looking at, because there's all these characters that I have no understanding of, and that we're going into a situation where I have no understanding of. It's only until afterwards they get the briefcase, they put that little thing up, you see the diamond, they put it down, and then they take off all of their like traditional Jewish like mustache and beard and all that, and then you see it's freaking Benicio del Toro, and you're like,
I was like, what?
Yeah.
what the frick? I didn't know he was in this movie until I saw him there, and I was like, and then I was really excited because I enjoy seeing this guy on film.
Yeah, me too.
So I was engaged with that, but I found it also a little weird because it wasn't that consistent. Like,
No.
we get this like really abrupt editing sequence, and then afterwards it's fairly consistent until we get another weird introduction of 30 characters in a row that you don't know and you've never met, and then that's where it gets a little weird too, and then it kind of goes into a regular shot, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why not just carry it throughout the entire movie? Like, I immediately, whenever I was watching this, I think a good example of it is Elvis, the new Elvis that came out.
Oh, okay.
I watched the first 30 minutes of Elvis, and I really enjoyed the stylistic choices that they do.
Yeah.
Like, where there's this crazy, over-the-top, lavish editing.
Yes.
And you
But
feel it
It's that way throughout the entire film.
throughout the entire film. And
Yeah.
this one is like, you get little brief 5-second or 5-minute clumps of it, you know. And I don't know, I was curious as to why they didn't just fully embrace it, you know.
Yeah. I have to say, when I finished this movie and I thought a little bit more about it today, I was with the movies that I watched over the weekend, I kept thinking about one in particular.
It's not too fair.
Yeah, and that was the thing, was like I kept thinking about that film other than this one. And I was like, man, like I think that's a bad sign. Is that I'm not actually taking time to think about this or like digest it even more.
Yeah.
And then I had come to the realization that this movie it's just a bad version of Uncut Gems.
Yeah. It's if Uncut Gems tried to be
It's if Uncut Gems was,
unironically funny.
and if it was not good. like if Uncut Gems was really bad,
Yeah.
or like just not as Uncut Gems is undeniably
That's a 10.
like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And you think about everything that happens in that movie, and like, you know, the stress, the running around of the gym, it getting thrown all these places and getting into the wrong hands,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Like this essentially happens all in the same in both movies.
Mhm.
Except it's just bad.
But in Snatch, it just doesn't work.
I almost
Or like
wonder
a-
if
like
they decide to make it like satirical. Because
I don't know.
Like this, how do they expect you to like fully engage with the film if they don't tell us what's going on?
Yeah.
So
I don't
you
know.
just kind of have to be like, I'm in a whole new universe with like 10 people in front of me that I don't know,
Yeah.
and they're trying to get this gem. Like I can get that part, but then
Yeah.
now we get introduced to Jason Statham and that other guy. I think his name is Stephen Graham or Tommy in the
Yeah.
film. But I was just like, there's so much to digest here, and
Yeah.
I'm too full. I can't do it.
You know what we should do is we should name every character.
I
and
can
then
do
and then you tell me if this is too much.
I
We've
can do the
got-
ones that I remember off
We've
rip.
got
Turkish.
Turkish, Tommy, Bricktop, Vol, Saul, Vinny,
Frankie Four Fingers.
Frankie Four Fingers, Bullet Tooth Tom, Tony, Boris the Blade,
Tyrone.
There's so many more.
I got a bunch right now. I'm looking at them right now, and they're all people that we've seen.
And
Name 'em all.
the names aren't even.
Mikey or Mickey.
You got Neo. You got Mullet. You got Errol. I don't know how to say that. It's Errol.
Yeah, Errol.
That's the guy that's like the
Yeah.
bodyguard.
Momo Neo. Jack, the all-seeing eye. Rosebud.
I don't even know who those last two people are.
No, and
That
it's
you
in one of
just
my
said.
bro moments when we get introduced to all these guys, because it's
Yeah.
it reminds me of the scene from Goodfellas when we get
Yeah.
it's panning around
Yeah.
the room, but you actually want to know these characters. It doesn't
Yeah.
like have this brash in your face. It looks like you're trying to pick a character in a video game.
Yeah,
You
they
know
have,
what I
like,
mean?
The character select screen.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And it's going through like 50 characters, and I was struggling to see which one's the bad guy.
See, and this is the thing though, like with a movie like Goodfellas, the story doesn't like integrate a ton of those characters that get introduced in those scenes. It's just like it's doing so because it's like, oh man, you have such a big family.
Yeah, it's just
like,
fleshing out.
Yeah, it's fleshing out this idea of being like, oh, you're in the mob, you know all these people.
Yeah.
And you know Two-Time Tony, you know Frankie, you know Vito, you know all these guys, you know Sal, you know, and those people never get introduced again,
Yeah.
or they're very rarely in the film after that.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, they introduce all these characters and they pop up like 4 or 5 times throughout the film, and then by the time the third time happens, you're like, wait, what's that guy's name again? I don't remember. Like,
They
oh,
expect
that's,
you.
That's Errol, or no, is that Vinny? Or
The only people I remember are the ones that I've seen that are big names, like Brad Pitt, like
Yeah.
Jason Statham. I was like, oh, I know these guys because easily recognizable. But
Yeah.
all these other guys, I'm like, how do you expect me to remember all this?
yeah,
So that, yeah. But I just wanted to bring up that introduction of the bank scene only because it caught me off guard and I kind of laughed. I was like, the editing is so
Yeah.
unique
Yeah.
here.
that's putting it nicely. That's putting it nicely.
I was caught off guard, so I wanted to bring that up.
All right, my first favorite scene is when we get introduced to Mickey.
I do like this scene too.
And this is like the scene that I had watched on one of the film pages I follow on Instagram. They had posted this, and it's the whole "Do you like dags?" scene.
like
you know?
dags?
Goes into that whole scene. You get introduced to him, and like one of the things that I immediately loved, or that I knew or had previous history with this scene, was just how unintelligible Brad Pitt's character is.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime this guy talks, you're like, "What? Excuse me? What did you say?"
Like, and it's weird because you get certain
Certain
some
little words.
kinds- yeah.
It's like, my mom needs a new caravan. Like, and you're like,
What the heck is a caravan?
oh, your mom needs a what? And
Uh-huh.
he's like, a new caravan. Her one looks like a...
and you're just like,
And you're like,
I was
I'm
there.
sorry, say it again?
I was
Like,
there. No, I'm not there.
Yeah, like, and what that's one of the things that really does work for me, I think. I think that's hilarious.
Mhm.
And he's really the only person that, like, really works in the film for me is Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah, I like what they do with his character too.
Yeah.
They bring him up as like this. Oh, he's just a dumb fighter. He's just a pawn in our game that we're playing.
Yeah.
When he becomes the true
Yeah.
master of the game.
Exactly. And one of the things I really like is not only the the set design of everything. This movie makes you feel like you're like really like in the dumps or like in the trash, like going to this random trailer park out in the middle of, you know, the London countryside. You've got these people who are like half Irish, half English, and then they have their own like kind of dialect between the two, so they like sound both, like they have both accents, but then they have their own specific like dialect of those accents, and that's why people have so much trouble understanding them. And I also was just dying laughing too whenever you know, they I think it's Tommy, he goes to this area to try to get an RV, right, or they call it a caravan, to help with the office, right? It's like the boxing promoting office. He needs a new caravan.
I need a new one because their
because
trailers like all breaking,
and so they need
like,
a new
oh,
one.
it's the color. And he pulls the door off.
Yeah, but they need like a new one, and so they know that like, oh, these guys have a lot, so maybe we can buy one from them. So he goes to talk to all these pikeys, is what they call them. And we get introduced to Mickey, and he says like, "Hey, I'll sell you a trailer and all this stuff." And they end up selling him one, and like the axle freaking breaks off,
comes off.
and that was a part where I was kind of like, "Dude, what the heck?" And then he tries to give it back to him, and he's like, "I'm not taking back a broken caravan. That thing is that's not worth anything to me, you know." And he's like, "I'll tell you what, like I'll take it back if you let me fight this like big guy that you're with. I heard he's a boxer." Let me fight him, and if he wins, I'll take it back. But if he loses,
give your money back.
Yeah, and I'll give you your money back. But if he loses, then you have to like keep the caravan, and then you gotta like
leave.
Yeah, you have to leave.
You don't
or
get the
something
money
like
in.
that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it gets into this whole like bare knuckle boxing scene, which I really enjoyed as well. It's like they're like almost in this like barn, and you got all these guys like surrounding these fights with like pallets and like makeshift fencing and all this stuff, and all these guys are just in there just screaming. It almost looks like a scene at a fight club, maybe.
It does.
Yeah.
And
I felt like that watching this movie.
Okay.
A lot like Fight Club.
Okay. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was like, first off, Brad Pitt's character just getting messed up.
He is.
By this guy named George. Or I think his name's Gorgeous George, right? And he's just getting like left and right, just eating these punches and stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, something snaps in Mickey, and he just one punches this guy.
Seriously.
And knocks him out. It almost looks like he dies.
I think
like,
he does
kills him.
die.
No, he gets brought back.
He does?
Yeah, they bring him back, and he's like in headgear.
Okay.
But like it looks like
thought he died. Dude.
Yeah, I thought he died too, because like someone checks his pulse, and like the camera like, you know, goes out, and immediately I was like, after I saw that, I was like, oh, Mickey's One Punch Man.
Yeah, seriously.
Like he can literally kill somebody in a punch or like obliterate them, and it was just a funny scene. And then, you know, on top of that, it also, you know, it introduced a character way more than it had all the other ones. So it sets you up to like really think that this is guy, you know, Brad Pitt's character is going to be the lead in the film, but that's not the case.
It's not the case. He kind of gets a little bit taken on the back seat.
Yeah.
On that one there.
Yeah.
But
I
don't know.
Any other favorite scenes?
I like the I guess I want to steal yours because I really like it. I think we could talk a lot about this one. So it's like we were talking about before. It's the idea of all of these threads coming together, and we get there's this one shop of guys. It's like there's one Russian guy, Boris. He's trying to do this whole scheme where he knows that Benicio del Toro, Frankie Four Fingers, is like a really big gambler, and that he's going to go and gamble on these things because he told him to. But the gambling, the thing that he's going to bet on is completely not real.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be these other guys that are supposed to jump him as he goes to the bookie. Right? So there's these guys. I forget what are their names?
Saul, Vinny, and Tyrone.
Okay, Tyrone's the driver.
Yes.
But it's all these guys, and the scene that I wanted to talk about is when they're all driving.
Yeah.
They're all driving, and there's like a domino effect that happens, and we get to see how it all works out with all these characters. One of Tommy is berating Turkish because he's drinking milk.
Yeah.
And milk is, it's bad for you and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, here, let me do you a favor. He grabs the milk and throws it out.
Yeah.
And then you hear a car crash, but it doesn't really show it yet. And you're like, what the heck? What just happened? Because this movie is very much like oh, they do a funny thing, but they don't really address the funny thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like it is like waiting for the audience to laugh it out.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, oh, okay, there was a crash. It's supposed to be a funny joke.
Yeah.
But no, they really come back to it because you get to see the milk landed on who was driving.
I think it was Saul and Vinny and Tyrone. They're driving, I think.
No, because they run into Boris.
Oh yeah,
the milk
they
falls on
they
the
straight up
older
run
guy,
Boris
Bricktop.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
freaking they hit. So it goes on to Bricktop's car.
Yeah.
They run straight into a fire hydrant,
Yeah.
and Boris crawls out. He's
Yeah.
standing in the middle of the road, and Tyrone,
and all them freaking run him over.
run him over. And I just like the way it all tied together
Yeah.
because they were all had some kind of connection with each other.
Yeah, and this is the first moment where we've been watching all these characters throughout the entire film. This is the first time where they all share like screen time.
Yep.
And they
Yes.
all intertwine and come together at one point, and it's throughout this chaotic sequence.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I really enjoyed was just how good the sequence was, because it showed this happening, and then it gets addressed later on in the film, and then this guy's coming this way and this guy's coming this way, and then they all happen to interact at the same point.
Mhm.
And now they're all from there they're all going through the same storyline at that
Mhm.
point. And that's just another thing I really liked about that sequence in general.
Yeah.
My last favorite scene is a little bit before that, and it's the hair coursing scene is what
Mm.
they called it.
Yes.
And it's sort of like it's like a bet type thing, like a betting type thing. And they basically, what happens is these pikeys have dogs or dags, and they basically bet on if they set loose this rabbit, if the dogs catch it or not. And if the dogs catch, you bet on the rabbit or the dog. And we get introduced to this because Turkish and Tommy go back to the Pikey's place to try to get another caravan, and he basically bets on them. Mickey bets with them again and says that okay, like I'll get you a caravan, but you have to bet on this thing with me. And he's like, basically you can either bet that the rabbit will get away or that the dog will get the rabbit.
Mhm.
And whichever you choose, if you win, I'll get you a caravan, but if you lose, you have to buy my mom.
No, I think wasn't the whole bet like if you win, I'll fight for you?
Oh, for
Because-
free.
yeah,
Yeah, he said I'll fight for free.
The whole thing is he's supposed to go down on the fourth round,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he just one punch
And never
is
will.
down.
He would never go down in the fourth round.
And he goes,
Yeah.
"Do you know the consequences you have, or this brings upon us?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think
he's like
that's-
originally was supposed to go down in the fourth round, the fight previously.
yes,
And then after that, he they approach him and is like, what'd you do basically? And he's like, okay, I'll make another bet with you. If you win the bet, I'll fight for free. If you lose the bet, you have to buy my mom a brand new trailer.
yeah, the periwinkle or
I
the
need
rose or whatever.
periwinkle blue,
Yeah.
like trailer and all this stuff. And so Turkish bets that the rabbit will get away, or no, that the rabbit will get caught, right,
Mm-hmm.
by the dogs. And he's like, there's no way, the dogs will be able to catch up with the rabbit for sure. And we watched this whole sequence of, we watched this whole sequence of this rabbit like running circles around these dogs and all this stuff. And
Dude, I would never assume a dog to be that as fast as a hare.
yeah,
Never in my life. Like I know there's dogs that can run, but I would never assume like a beefy dog. Like what were they? Like what? German shepherds?
I think they were greyhounds.
Were they?
Yeah.
Whatever they were going.
Yeah, they were chasing this thing. But one of the things I liked was while this is going on, we have the stress of this happening. And then we also have the stress of Tyrone. It's being intercut with these different sequences where Tyrone gets pressed by the brick guy.
Oh yeah,
Bricktop.
and he's
And
also in getting hounded by dogs.
Yeah, and he's getting ripped up by dogs. And then Bricktop is telling him, like, I want to know, like, who robbed the bookie.
Mhm.
You're going to tell me. You need to give me information. And so he's getting shaken down while, Tommy and Turkish are taking a bet on this, rabbit getting away from these dogs.
Mhm.
And it's a nice juxtaposition because the rabbit ends up getting away and Turkish and Tommy lose their bet. But then Tyrone ends up giving all the information out on it as to who did this hit on the bookie
Mhm.
and all this stuff. And I just thought it was a nice little sequence that they cut together, and it was a really I think effective way to show storytelling at
Mm-hmm.
the same time and to like pair those two stressful sequences together.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's all my favorite scenes.
That's it for you. I have one last one, and it's pretty much at the end. I enjoyed it because there's a scene where he doesn't go down in the fourth again. Mickey doesn't. And the consequences for that is that they go and they burn the caravan that his mom is in. And straight up, so Mom, what do they call it? Mom O'Neill.
Mama O'Neill dies.
Yeah, Mama O'Neill dies. And you just think like, oh, okay, he's just gonna roll over with it because they approach him afterwards, and he goes, oh, I'll fight for you because I've seen what he does. I don't want any more violence to happen. So you immediately think he's just gonna roll over. You know what I mean? He's not a violent type guy. But the end comes around where he gets to this last fight, and he's supposed to go down to the fourth. We get this like super engaging scene where they're just fighting each other, but there's a weird scene too where he's like getting fought, and then it's almost like he's about to pass out, but he's in water floating.
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know.
I don't know if that's supposed to like simulate an out of body experience.
I don't know.
Or
It's
he's
like
just-
when he gets uppercutted, right? And
Yeah.
he straight
Oh,
up
that
is
was
like,
that
Dude,
was
no,
pretty sick though.
No,
Tell
I
me that
was
wasn't
like,
sick.
There's no way.
I loved it.
it's obviously a stylistic choice.
It is. But he straight up like planks
Yeah.
in the sky.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But it's this whole scene where they're fighting, and then I don't even know what round it is, but you can see that something switches, and he gets up and just goes, wham,
Yeah.
and knocks the guy out in one
Yeah.
punch. And and then obviously everyone's pissed. The guy is like, he's calling to get, because he's surrounding the people. His what do they even call that? Like the caravan place.
The campground.
Yeah.
Campsite.
Yeah, and Bricktop thinks that he's got the higher ground.
Yeah.
And he's going out and
Basically saying like kill everybody.
yeah.
There.
And you hear gunshots, so you think they're dying.
Yeah.
And then Bricktop goes out to get into his car because he's trying to get Turkish and Tommy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you see
they're exiting the building at the same time at different exits.
yes, and then you get to see like the overarching plan that Mickey had.
Yeah.
And you get to see how all of his pikey friends just gun down his people.
Yeah.
You get to
Dude,
see
that was wild.
Yeah.
it was wild. And then you get to see him roll down the window and just have a shotgun right at him
Yeah.
and take him out. And immediately I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
I enjoy this. Like I really thought that they weren't going to do anything with Brad Pitt. But he's really integral to this part of it, and I enjoyed
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I liked the flipping of the script.
Yeah.
That was an bro moment for me specifically because I didn't expect them to do it.
Yeah, I didn't
I
either.
was kind of wondering where, the fight was gonna go or where it was gonna end. Like if he was just gonna like lay down and let his name fall
Mhm.
and actually fall in the fourth. But I appreciated the flipping of the script.
Yeah, and that was my last one I wanted to talk about.
Okay, if that's it, what are some best quotes?
You like dags?
Do you like dags?
You said you had two that are in movie.
Yes. There's one from, I forget the character's name, but he's like the diamond appraiser, like the guy that like inspects the diamonds.
Yes.
And he says he's Jewish, but he's not.
He tells his family that he's Jewish. That
yeah,
they're Jewish.
that they're Jewish, but they're not. And he said like it's good for business or something like
Yeah.
that, right? I forget his name, but there's a scene where he's like he's on the phone, I think, talking to the guy from New York, and he goes to his shop, and there's like a ton of like Hasidic Jew dudes sitting in front of his shop.
Oh, I like.
And he goes up and he starts walking, and he's like, "What are you doing? Get out of the front of my store!" And the guys are like, "It's a free country, isn't it?" And he said, "Well, that ain't a free shop, so F off." And I started laughing at that. I thought that was pretty funny.
Okay.
And then the last one I had that I caught in movie before going to IMDb was there's a scene where Saul and Vinny and Tyrone, they all meet for the first time, and we find out that Tyrone is going to be this getaway driver for this this heist that they're going to go when they're supposed to go rob the bookie, and he's supposed to be the getaway driver. And Tyrone is this big guy.
Dude, he's
And we find out, like we said, he's supposed to be the getaway driver. And so it's, Tyrone driving, Saul is sitting shotgun, and then Vinny's sitting in the back with his dog. And they go to this, they're driving around, they go to this gas station, and they see that Tyrone's like having a really hard time trying to get out of the car. And, you hear all just this leather jacket just like creaking and all this stuff, and he's trying to get out, and it finally does. And whenever he closes the door, Vinny looks at Saul and says, I thought you said he was the getaway driver. And then he looks at him for a minute, and they like have a pause, and he says, what the hell can he get away from? And I started laughing at that.
I
too,
was laughing when they were introducing us to Tyrone because they said that he was a rally car driver.
Yeah.
And if you know what rally car driving is,
Yeah.
that's like intense driving.
Yes.
There's no way he can do it.
Most definitely.
And I was laughing when I heard that.
Yeah, there's another quote I had with Vinny and Tyrone. He's driving, and they get to the bookie place, and he has to park. And he's like, the quote goes, why are we stopping here? What's wrong with that spot? And he goes, it's too tight. And they look.
It's the freaking fattest spot, dude.
It's the fattest spot ever. Anyone could park there. And he goes, too tight. You could let a jumbo effing jet in that. And I was dying. Yeah. And then he goes on to say, he pulls in, and then he goes, Soul goes, he's a natural, ain't you, Tyrone? And he goes, of course I am. And he backs up into the van.
Yeah.
And he goes, a natural effing idiot. I don't know. I like the dialogue between these guys. It was really funny.
Yeah. Another one that I have between Tyrone and Vinny was whenever they first get in the car, Tyrone gives Vinny grief about bringing his dog. And he says, I don't want that dog dribbling on my seats. Mm-hmm. And Vinny says, Tyrone, this is a stolen car, mate. It's not even yours. And I just thought that was pretty funny, too, that he was getting so upset.
There was another one, too, from, I think, what was his name? Bullet Tooth Tom or...
Bullet Tooth Tony?
Bullet Tooth Tony, where he goes, he's getting stuck up, and he has this whole long monologue, and he goes, and you guys aren't really going to fight me with when your gun says replica on the side. Yeah. And then it goes, woof, and it does like a really zoom cut onto the replica.
Yeah.
I was like...
And he's like, my gun says Desert Eagle 50 cal on the side.
It goes, Desert Eagle 50 cal. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, for sure. Any other best quotes?
No.
Nada.
Well, let's get into bro moments then.
Yeah.
I have a few bro moments. That's something that I can talk about.
Okay.
My very first one we already talked about, and it's the axle coming off of that trailer.
Oh, okay.
That's just how.
Yeah. That thing's messed up.
How the heck did that happen?
Yeah.
But my next one is, when we get introduced to Tyrone, did you guys ever play games at school? Like on like when you got a laptop, did you guys ever play games at school?
No, like cool math games, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no, like Spike's math games was my what? Yes, mini clip.
Yeah.
But Spike math games was my thing. So the song immediately that's playing reminds me of a game, and I looked up the song and I was like, dude, it's the same game. And this game is called Chainsaw Kid.
Okay.
And it's just a kid. It's just a kid in a office just chainsawing people. That's all you gotta do.
They let you play this at school?
It was Spiked math games. Like, that was math games, so they didn't block the website.
What?
And
That's
I was
funny.
like, bruh, I know. Like, I was
Isaiah, you know this. You know it. Hold on, let me pull up a picture. It's not a kid.
It's a kid.
It's not a kid. It's a freaking kid with a skull head.
Oh, is it Dad and Me?
No.
The purple guy?
No.
No. This guy. Hold on, let me pull up a picture.
You had the picture.
Because I remember that game. Dad
No,
and
this
Me.
is
on Newgrounds.
Oh, Newgrounds.
no. Look, it's this. You've never seen that?
No.
Bro,
This is iconic. I've seen this.
I've never seen that.
So you know what I'm talking
Yes,
about?
yes, yes. And you.
The song that plays in that is the song that plays when we get introduced to Tyrone.
Oh my gosh.
And immediately
why?
I was like, oh, no way. Like, I was like, I know something
Why
from
did
this
you
movie.
know that?
Dude, I would get, I would,
put hours into
hours
that
no,
game.
listen, I would
Chainsawing people.
I would go in my English class. Sorry, Miss Ross, if you're hearing this. And we'd have to be typing something, and I would always die at the same stupid spot. And this thing is at the elevator spot with some guy at a shotgun, and now that's all I would play in English class. That's why I failed their class.
That's funny.
And so immediately I was like, bro, I know something of this movie. And I was like, bro.
Yeah, that's a deep bro moment, dude. That's a deep cut. Holy crap. Man.
Another one is there's two guys who are with Tyrone. I don't remember their names.
Saul and Vinny.
Which one's the one in the back with the dog?
Vinny.
Vinny. So Saul tells Vinny, do you have a gun? And Vinny was like, Yeah, I do. And pulls out a Spaz 12.
Yeah, freaking
Dude.
big old shotgun. He's like, that's an anti-aircraft gun, dude. Yeah.
I was like, what do you do? Like, if you're just holding up, I would not want to use a shotgun. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that leads into my next bro moment is when they go to that.
Yeah,
and
robbing
everything
the
goes
bookie.
wrong, dude.
I feel like it's because
everything.
they've been broken into before, so they're like, oh, we're prepared now.
We just have nothing.
No, it was Boris
just-
was setting them up.
Yeah.
He was setting them up and knowing that there was not going to be any cash at a certain time at the office. That's why whenever she said that all bets are off, that, all the money has been taken already. It's not here anymore. And so whenever they go there at the certain time they're supposed to go, Boris gave them wrong information. And, of course, he gets stuck in the freaking thing.
Yeah.
And
The freaking thing that raises up, yeah.
And then they drop the thing.
And they
then,
say their names out loud. They take their masks
yeah,
off.
They only get copper coins.
Yep.
Dude,
He blows a hole in that thing and then sticks his shotgun.
Yeah.
It's like, this is wild.
Yeah. It reminds you of like some of those YouTube videos of like world's dumbest criminals.
Yeah.
Dude.
Have you seen that guy go into the jewelry shop with a hammer?
Yeah.
And
And
he
he
just-
just can't break anything.
He's sitting there for like 5 minutes trying to break through the thing.
Yeah.
Like, just leave, bro.
Yeah.
Just leave.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of that. And,
Yeah.
and it's funny. It's sequence where it's like, it's almost like watching the Three Stooges.
Mm-hmm.
And you just watch them be helpless.
Yeah, and you think that everything is lost. Like the cops are gonna come, and then freaking Tyrone comes and opens the door. They're like, oh, "Our savior!"
Yeah.
because it was all locked and all.
Yeah. One of the bro moments I have that we have not talked about yet was Bullet Tooth Tony choking that guy with the car window for information. He takes that guy, which he looks so familiar. I can't remember what he's on.
He does look familiar.
But he straight up puts his head, like brings him in, and then closes the window on his neck, and then starts driving with him, so that way he can tell him information. And the guy's like getting choked out the whole time.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty original way to like interrogate somebody and get information out of them. It's something I've never seen before, and I enjoyed it.
I've never been interrogated, but I have a similar occasion that happened to me. My dad was driving away, and I said, wait. And my body was hanging. I jumped in the car while he was driving away, and my body was halfway out, and he like slammed on the brake, and like I felt like my whole body just broke because the way I slammed into the frame. And he goes, yeah, this happened for you being a D word. I'm not gonna say
A dummy.
Dummy, yes, a dummy. And I was like, that made me think of it.
Okay.
Yeah. My next one is when freaking Boris, he sees Benicio del Toro's character Frankie. He straight up kills him with one shot, and then cuts his arm off.
Yeah.
And
Dude,
wraps
straight
it
up
in
pulls out
newspaper.
A what?
It was like a meat cleaver.
Like a meat cleaver. Why do you have that on you?
I have no idea. He's called Boris the Blade.
Yeah.
The next one that I have is very small, but is when the dog swallows the chew toy.
Oh, and it just goes.
Dude, when it barks,
Yeah.
shut up. I can't do it. But I was like, just gonna let the dog swallow a chew toy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the dog do?
My next one is seeing the pigs. Seeing the seeing them feed the humans to the pigs.
Yeah.
And the whole dialogue of him saying, you know how many, a pig can eat 2 pounds of flesh in a minute.
Yeah.
I was like, geez, this is nasty. This dude's a
Yeah.
villain.
Yeah, seriously. One of the ones that I have that we have not talked about yet was the dog eating the diamond.
Yeah, at the very end.
I
Yeah.
honestly kind of suspected it
Okay.
because they said, "Oh, the dog swallowed it."
Yeah, but then
And
they say
then
no.
they're like,
It's in
no,
the-
no, and they started freaking out. And then when they start freaking out, and the guy pulls it out, and then the dog comes out of nowhere, and I was like, it was like is it foreshadowing?
Yeah.
Would you say?
Mm.
It's kind of like foreshadowing what was gonna happen.
Okay.
You gotta have IQ 200.
I
follow
literally was
that
like,
through
oh dang, yeah.
line.
But the last one that I have is I don't know who it is, but it's in that scene where he swallows the diamond, and homeboy just shoots his partner because he's trying to shoot the
he's trying
dog.
to shoot the dog and kills Bullet Tooth Tony.
Kills his partner, and I was just like,
Dude, I was dying laughing in that scene whenever the dog just starts biting Saul.
for no
And, like,
reason.
It just starts attacking everybody in the scene for no reason. I thought that was so funny.
What about the one scene where it's Turkish and Tommy are going to trade in his gun because it was like a fake gun.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's not here, he's not here. And then Boris, after being ran over, walks in and then comes out with like this freaking AK.
Yeah.
And up the AK with a grenade
Yeah,
launcher
freaking
on the
grenade.
bottom.
You're like, he doesn't ever use it.
No,
I was like,
but-
what the heck is
Yeah.
happening? That was a good one too.
Yeah. But that's it for bro moments for me.
It's a football moment.
Me as well.
All right. Well, let's get into some facts.
Yeah. So I have one with a budget, of course, and it took 6 million euros to make this because it's a British film. So in U.S. dollars, it took $5.9 million to make this movie. Converting it, opening weekend it only made 27,000 in 2000. For gross, U.S. and Canada made 30.3 million, and worldwide it made 83.5 million.
Wow.
$83 million.
So this killed.
It killed.
Wow.
I don't know how. Excuse me for saying that, but I don't know how.
That's crazy. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I would never have guessed that.
It made 800%.
Something
I would say
like
something
that.
like that.
That's crazy. One of the facts that I have here in regards to one of the characters, the guy that plays Bullet Tooth Tony, I think his actual name is Vinnie Jones. But specifically, whenever our characters in this story, Vinny and Saul, are sitting outside of Bricktop's bookies, about to give him the diamond, there's a man that approaches the car who looks like Bullet Tooth Tony, but it's not actually him. It's a lookalike. And Vinnie Jones didn't show up for shooting that day because he was in jail for fighting the night before. So they had to use a lookalike.
Wow.
Dang,
That-
savage.
That's
I
crazy.
have one about Soul, Vinny, and Tyrone. So every mistake that they made was actually inspired by various late-night TV shows about real-life crimes gone horribly wrong.
There you go. They hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's wild. I have one about the producers, and they couldn't afford enough extras for the boxing match sequences. Whenever a camera angle changed, the extras had to move around to create an impression of a filled room.
Wow.
I would never have guessed that.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
fun.
Yeah, at least
that
they
was
got more
wild.
screen time.
Yeah,
True.
for sure. Another one here, Brad Pitt's character and his indecipherable speech was inspired by many critics' complaints about the accents of the characters in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which was Guy Ritchie's previous film, his first film. Guy Ritchie had decided to counter the criticisms by creating a character that not only couldn't be understood by the audience, but that also couldn't be understood by the characters in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
So he played it out perfect.
So he did that on purpose,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty funny.
I have one about the director, which I didn't know of. So Guy Ritchie's our director. So he reportedly paid $1 million to use Madonna's song "Lucky Star." At the time that he did, he was dating her from the late 2000s, and then married her in the late 2000s to 2008. Ritchie would direct Madonna's "Swept Away," and then would direct her controversial music video, "What It Feels Like for a Girl."
That's pretty cool.
But I didn't know that he was married to Madonna.
Yeah, me either. That's pretty cool.
News to me, man.
Yeah.
I was curious about how the line "the Germans" worked in other countries, and I guess the German dubbed version it translates to "angry man" instead of "the Germans."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I thought that was funny.
That's funny.
Angry
The last fact that I have here is so according to the DVD commentary on this film, the dog that actually was in the film's name is Bao, or we'll say Bo, and the dog was actually apparently very difficult to work with. During the car scene with Vinny, Saul, and Tyrone, the dog was actually attacking Lenny James, and James was actually bitten in the crotch by the dog, but didn't suffer any serious injuries.
Bruh.
The dog was replaced after that scene.
It was replaced.
Yeah, they ended up using a different dog.
The same like fur patches
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
Imagine like being on set and just getting ripped up by a dog. I would be like, I'm not getting paid enough for this.
Dude, seriously.
Oh, I'd die.
But yeah, that's it for facts for me.
Yeah, I don't have any more.
Yeah, I'm done too, man.
Okay, what didn't work in this film?
All right. Let's get it to it.
Yeah,
First off,
yeah, go ahead.
this movie is all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I think that's something that does not work for this movie.
Yeah, I'd written down that this story really failed to hold my interest.
It
Yeah.
did.
There's just so many characters and so many side stories that happen all at once that I think the purpose of the movie starts to get lost a bit.
Mhm.
And then, you start focusing on certain characters and where they came from and how they got their names and all this lore behind these characters. And then they finally intertwine and then they die 5 minutes later. And then you're like, why did I need to know any of this stuff if they're just going to die?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I found myself dozing off a lot.
I actually did. I legitimately fell asleep.
I
I had to rewind it.
No,
Wow.
I fell asleep, and I had to rewind it in about 45 minutes, and I
Okay.
fell asleep probably 10 minutes in.
And it's not that it's like not interesting. It's the fact that they give you so much information that I'm so overloaded that I just get apathetic to all the characters. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna remember all of this.
Yeah.
There's no possible way.
Mhm.
And I can't see a way where they all tie in any meaningful way. And they end up not. Honestly, a lot of them don't. And
Yeah.
I get really disengaged because I'm like, there's too much here. I
Yeah.
need, like, the pacing here is too crammed.
It's too crammed. It should have been a longer film.
Yes, it should have been. Longer film with less characters.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'll talk about again that doesn't work for me is that I didn't really care for any of the characters.
No.
Like, you don't get enough room to actually have characters get fleshed out.
Not
or
at all.
like any room for the characters to even breathe.
No.
And there's, again, too many, and we know the, like, absolute minimum about each of them.
Dude, a perfect highlight of this exact problem is Benicio del Toro's character.
Yeah.
We get introduced to him. I wanted to see more. He got, like, I don't know what happened, but he got
maybe like
freaking-
5 minutes of screen time.
He got criminally underutilized.
Yeah.
But he gets this really cool backstory of him having this gambling problem and him
Yeah.
getting a diamond and, is he going to lose it by gambling? What's going to happen? And then he just dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you because
Yeah.
I was so interested in him. I wanted to know why did he get into gambling?
Yeah.
How did he lose a finger?
Yeah.
Seriously,
what-
yeah,
they
four
They call him
fingers.
Four Finger Frankie or Frankie Four Fingers.
Yeah.
There's so much
There's a lot
that I wanted to know
Yeah.
that we didn't get to know.
Yeah.
I feel like they unpack the wrong thing.
They do, man.
Like there's so much that you could unpack that could be really interesting for certain characters, but then they're like, no, let's not do that. Let's do this.
Like, why even use Benicio?
Yeah, I have no clue.
I
Benicio-
don't get it.
Yeah.
He's barely in it, and then the scenes that he is in it, he's got a bag over his head.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
And they just shoot him.
it's so underutilized.
Yeah.
I was really interested, and when he died, so did my interest. Honestly, I was like, oh, I like this guy.
Yeah.
And it was. I also didn't really like Jason Statham's character.
Yeah, he's almost, he reminds me of Rick Steves.
Rick Steves.
You remember Rick Steves? He's like a documentarian guy. He was on PBS, and he would like showcase different cultures and be like, I'm in Spain. They love flamenco dancing here, and he's like just some guy that like films stuff.
I'm looking
But
him
like
up now.
he reminds me of that character because he's just like there.
Yeah.
Like he's just a character that is there. He narrates, and then it's just kind of like, what about those sausages? He serves no purpose really than to just be the narrator.
Yeah, and I think that his part of the story is super weak.
Yeah.
When it comes to the entire narrative of the
Yeah,
story.
because in the grand scheme of things, we're getting told the entire story from his perspective, and so you would think we would want to like get engaged with his character, but he like gets about as less screen time, like if not maybe a little bit more than Benicio del Toro's character.
Seriously.
So the whole time we're supposed to be like paying attention to this guy and like caring for him, but then we don't.
He doesn't
because
do
he just
anything.
doesn't-
He
doesn't do anything.
whenever I think about it, what does he do? He just stands around and he's always like
And he
the
talks.
quippy character, and he's always like trying to bust these super flat jokes that don't land for me at all.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what characteristics here am I supposed to like?
Yeah.
Other than him just being like the super sarcastic guy.
If
Yeah.
I'm being honest, I can't think of a movie that I like Jason Statham.
I'd have to look at some of the ones he's in.
Some of his filmography.
I just know some of the more
I just think
funny
of
ones
the,
like Crank.
Yeah.
I was just about to say the movie that I think of is Crank, and especially the scene when he gets the freaking jumper cables and just
yeah.
like why?
Yeah, there. I gotta.
Over the top.
Yeah, he's over the top, and I don't know.
Another thing that I don't didn't think it worked, and I know with me and you, Isaiah, talking about it a little bit, was the dialogue, the writing. And you say it quite often, I don't. But the writing is a big part of the movie.
Yes.
And so there's so much going on with the writing in here that I didn't understand, and that's what I think didn't work, because I don't understand what's going on with the movie. I'm not going to want to follow the movie if I don't know what's happening.
And I think that's what I had also kind of meant by this story failing to hold my interest. The writing in like the actual story side of things, like characters' motivations to go certain places, why they need to go these places, what they have to do when they get there, like all these things, like it just falls flat.
Yeah,
It falls so flat.
And like there are some aspects of the writing here that I do like, but it's not enough to be like, oh, that's something that like specifically worked. Was solely like all of the writing worked.
Yeah.
Like no, there's only bits and pieces of it that did work for me here.
I get you.
I also did not like the Bricktop.
Yeah, his character.
He didn't seem that menacing to
Who's
me.
Bricktop? What's his
Bricktop
name?
is the old guy.
The old guy with the glasses.
He's like the head
okay.
honcho. He didn't really seem that menacing to me. Also, every time I saw him, I was just reminded of like Austin Powers. I don't know why, but every time I saw him, I was like, "You're not menacing, dude. I don't believe anything that you're saying right now."
Yeah.
And I'm gonna contradict myself later, because he's kind of like the one that I feel like gives it his all.
Yeah.
Really, like he tries to sell this persona so hard.
Yeah.
Which I like, but I don't know. I feel like they could have done a lot better at fleshing out this villain.
Yeah.
I really was not engaged at
Yeah.
all, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, it was tough.
I also don't think this movie is not rewatchable at all.
Yeah, I don't see myself returning to it anytime soon.
The only reason I would return to it is if someone could convince me that it's worth it. Like, oh, you missed so much. Like, this is really why I enjoyed it. Let's
Yeah.
watch it together, and you can see what I see.
Yeah. I get
And
you when
I-
you're saying that.
And I'll agree with you too, Nick, because like I think the same thing could be said for me whenever I first watched American Psycho. And I'd first watched American Psycho, I didn't understand it or know anything about it. So when I watched it, I was just like, what am I even watching? Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then when I brought that up to somebody, they're like, "Oh, you didn't like understand it through the right lens. This isn't like, it's not like a horror movie or anything. This is supposed to be like a comedy. Like this is a satire that like is poking fun at a bigger thing." And you have to kind of like know that or understand what they're going for to really appreciate the movie. And then whenever you go back and you watch it through that lens, you're like, dude, this is awesome.
It's so
like,
much better.
It makes it so much better when you understand the joke.
Yeah,
Or
so
like,
I'm definitely willing to change my
Yeah.
perspective here, but
yeah.
as of what I witnessed, it just is pretty much falls flat.
To be honest, I'm actually excited to talk about it with my manager, because I'm gonna bring it up to him and be like, dude, what was this movie like?
I crave
you
wanting
like-
to know why
Yeah.
people like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he was like, it's a good movie, and so I believed him. Like, I respect him. I believe him. So, and I'm now watching. I'm like, bro, come on.
Yeah.
I thought this was a good movie. So I'm excited. I'm gonna ask him and be like, what did you like from this movie,
Yeah.
and what can you do to convince me to like it?
Yeah. Make
Because-
me want to watch it again.
Yeah, make me want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is what I'm gonna tell him.
Let's see if you can have dialogue. Usually, when you get in a situation, like usually, dude, when people like a movie, and you say, "Oh, I don't like that," they're like, "What? What?"
Yeah.
Should I,
What?
should
And
I
I'm-
record
I'm-
our conversation? Just be like,
Yeah.
by the way, I'm recording our conversation.
I think we're all guilty of it.
We are. I'm
I
super
think
guilty of it.
everyone is.
But
But,
I'm not like
Actually, yeah. 'Cause you guys
you're like
hated
some
on the
people.
movie.
No. Some people get like, dude, I hate you.
yeah.
Like you suck and I
Yeah,
hate you. I'm
yeah.
more just like, oh, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, it's just they're just
I'll
movies.
give I think we're in the same boat because like we'll give a person grief, but at the end of the day we'll be like, at the end of the day,
It's not that big.
it's
a deal.
subjective.
Yeah, it's not.
Some things are gonna hit with somebody, some things aren't.
No, there's other guys where it's like, this is objectively good and I hate you.
Yeah.
You have no taste.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
we're not that
That's how, I
deep.
feel, that's how I feel when people are like, I don't like horchata.
Mm.
And I'm like, how the
Yeah,
heck do you not
that's-
like horchata?
That's how I feel with a lot of like my coworkers, because I have some coworkers, one specifically who had recommended me Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I watched it and I was like, dude, that movie was awesome. Like objectively, it's a great film. It has everything going for it. It's awesome. And then my boss brought it up and it was like, yeah, he was telling me about this dumb movie about this convenience store worker. And I said, oh, is it this movie? And she was like, yeah, it sounded stupid. And I was like, it was great. Like it was really good.
Yeah.
And then she was like, I didn't like it. You know what movie I did like? Top Gun Maverick. That was a great movie. And then I was like, do you love The Blind Side too? And she's like, oh, that's a great movie too. And it's just
Bro,
like,
don't knock on the blind side.
and but it's just like you got to know your demographic a
Yeah.
little bit, you know. If you're talking to somebody who like doesn't care about movies, or they're like, oh, dude, you see Godzilla versus King Kong?
Yeah.
That movie was awesome.
It's different for different people, man. People
Yeah.
like different things. And
yeah,
I try not to be hostile towards it, towards them.
yeah.
But
I get hostile.
that's
sometimes.
why I'm so willing to just be like, dude, I want to hear why you like it so much. I'm willing to listen to you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hopefully he's willing to listen to
I'm,
you too.
I'm gonna go. I gotta work tomorrow morning with him, and I'm gonna go like 30
He's
minutes
gonna be like,
early.
AB, I'm
We'll have him
sorry,
call
dude,
in.
you're fired.
Huh?
We'll have him call in.
What do you mean,
He can call into the podcast and
bro?
explain himself.
Yeah.
More than willing, man. I'm ready.
No, literally, I'm probably gonna go to work like 30 minutes early tomorrow and be like, "Hey, let's talk about this. Like, why didn't you like? Why do you like this movie?
What
I
did
want to
miss?
know."
What did I miss? Please help me.
Yeah.
What else didn't work, if anything?
What else didn't?
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else?
Nope.
No, just I think we hit the main ones because those are the only ones.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, I think if those things were to change, like
Hmm.
if we got more story time, if it was longer with less characters,
Yeah.
if we got if we got better writing,
Okay.
the movie would be a
Yeah.
lot better.
I don't want to. It's hard for me because the editing didn't work for me at all.
Yeah.
think
But
it
it's
felt
also
very-
2000s editing.
Yeah, it felt very, very dated.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, so
Yeah.
dated. But I feel like it's part of like the DNA
Yeah.
of it
it's-
too,
Yeah.
where it brings some kind of style. I feel like what would this movie be without the style?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that did work for me.
Oh, okay. Let's
Well,
get
let's
into
transition
what did
over.
work. Yeah, let's
yeah,
do it.
So what
because
did work?
I think this movie has tons of style.
It does.
And it brings the film a very long way.
Yeah.
And when
Mm.
I say style, I mean everything from the cinematography, the editing, the soundtrack choices, the wardrobe choices, the coloring of things, like all that stuff. It definitely has a style that's going for it, and that's something that I said I can really appreciate.
Mhm.
If a director can like execute their vision perfectly and get everybody else to recognize that this is, something that's going to be prevalent throughout the movie or, prevalent throughout their work,
Yeah.
that's something that I can only, give props to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this movie has that.
Okay. There was brief glimpses where I was convinced about the threads coming together and it being actually satisfying.
Yeah.
Like one of the scenes we talked about of the whole car thing and the domino effect there. Another one just being the entire ending. I think that worked incredibly well for me. I didn't think they would do anything with Brad Pitt's character. I kind of lost faith that this movie would have anything more than just what we've been seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But then no, Brad Pitt really comes in and he really like takes the ending onto his shoulders
Yeah.
and actually gives it some of that impact
Mhm.
that I was looking for. And that was part of the reason why I was satisfied at the end, just because of Brad Pitt and where they took his character.
Yeah.
That's something I did enjoy a lot.
Yeah, I have to say, in regards to defending a little bit of the writing here, it's specifically that I think a lot of the dialogue between characters is good,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of the back and forth that certain characters have, I think, can be funny at points, but it's also like top notch. Like when I think of really great writing, I'm always going to go to like Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese as like the kings of that, and like when you look at a dialogue in those movies, they have like the best. Like it's the golden standard to look at. And I feel like this isn't necessarily living up to those guys' level, but it's definitely taking inspiration from them. I can feel.
Mm.
Like certain things that characters say here, I can feel just that this guy took tons of inspiration either from Reservoir Dogs or from Pulp Fiction or any of Quentin's earlier films. Excuse me, and I think that the dialogue does work here in some aspects.
Mm.
There are other aspects where I'm like, that's such a bad joke. Like the joke doesn't land. It falls flat. And then there are other aspects that I think, they do land, or the dialogue just feels genuine or feels good.
Yeah.
And I think that can also be attributed to like some of the acting in this movie. I think that the characters do land their or the actors do land their characters and they make them believable.
Yeah.
I won't say that like it's great acting or anything that's like gonna blow you out of the water, but it's definitely something to at least pay attention to.
Yeah, they kind of own their roles, especially Brad Pitt. I really feel like he, really heavily leaned into that accent and that whole persona of the character and how they live in the caravan, and they're kind of like, they almost seem a little bit nomadic when they do a crime and they straight up just leave camp, leave nothing behind. I think there's even a quote too where it's like it's impossible to find a pikey who doesn't want to be found or something like that. And I really feel like he embodied that, and I think all of the pikey people around him did as well.
Yeah,
like they all seem to be very genuine.
Yeah,
which I
definitely.
enjoy. Yeah. What
Anything
about you?
else?
Do you have anything? Have you said anything yet?
No, because I don't think this was a good movie.
Yeah. Well, there's some. There's some
redeeming qualities.
There's always.
I did laugh quite a
Almost
bit.
always.
I would say that then.
Okay.
There was stuff that I was like, oh, shoot, like, what the heck? Like, so I guess there is, to a certain extent, it's comedic to a certain extent. And you just have to catch the jokes, I guess.
Okay.
That is something that I will say I enjoyed.
Okay.
Is that it? He's racking
Yeah.
his brain.
All right.
My brain is working on overtime right now, and
Okay.
I just don't know.
Okay.
It's-
Well, that's it for what did work for me.
Me as well. Yeah.
Okay. Who wins this movie?
I think we might have different things.
Okay.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
I've got Brad Pitt.
I put Brad Pitt.
I put Bricktop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm killing the movie.
I wasn't convinced that he was a good villain, but I enjoyed just his like persona. And I could really tell his actor name is Alan Ford.
Okay.
And I don't know, he just like, I really felt like he tried really, really hard here.
Okay.
And every time I saw him, I was like, he always has this persona about him that I enjoyed watching on.
Okay. Just not menacing enough.
No, not menacing, but I really feel like he like tried.
Okay.
Which is why I was like, because I feel like of course Brad Pitt's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Of course Brad Pitt's gonna be good, and he did a great job.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about his character I really liked watching.
Okay.
So that's
like
why
that.
I choose.
Changing it up.
Yes, sir.
All right. What are some themes here? It's beyond me.
Don't underestimate a pikey.
Yeah.
Or I don't know.
Live, laugh, love. I don't know, dude. It could be anything. This movie, like we said at the beginning of the pod, it's an everything movie. It's got action, it's got comedy, it's got heists, it's got all this stuff, boxing, anything. To find like a unifying message about a film like this, it's like,
tough.
yeah,
It's like don't trust anybody. Don't be greedy.
yeah. I don't.
There's
I guess. Well, okay. Let's think about it. Because
Is this a multiverse movie?
oh,
Could it be? Because like imagine they never met. Like because everything changed because they met this one guy and all
that
this
one
stuff.
decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and it changed everything.
No. What I was thinking of is like greed destroys everybody.
Okay.
Everybody except whenever they didn't choose greed, they chose like to be a family, and it's the Pikeys,
Yeah.
and they're truly the only ones who like succeeded.
Mm.
So there has to be some kind of like value in surrounding yourself with people who will support you, and then also kind of work in the system a little bit, but not for like your own selfish gain, but to get the the value of your group going. Because he says, I'm gonna fight for you, but I don't want money. I just want a new caravan for my mom.
Yeah.
So he's not really that greedy. He is more
He's
of like,
doing
I'm going
things
to
for the
take
right
care of my
reasons.
people.
Yeah.
So there might be some value to mine there.
Yeah.
Because everyone else gets pretty much wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
So
I like that.
I don't know. I just thought about that.
That's good. So if that's it for the themes, what are we rating this?
Yes. I'm going to rate this one a 5 with an asterisk that I could be convinced.
Okay.
But a 5 is where I'll stay.
Yeah, I think my ratings are always fluid. They're they're
Yeah.
bound to change in some aspect one way or another. But I think as of right now, I'm going with a 5 as well.
shoot. I'm sorry, but I'm giving it a 4.
Okay.
I'll put an asterisk on it because, like I said, I want to talk to my boss and see what he says and see why he liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And so maybe he can convince me to rewatch it.
Yeah.
And then maybe I can change my mind.
Maybe one of our viewers can too.
Yeah,
'Cause
like,
this-
if you've
this-
seen this movie, let us know.
Well, and this seems to be like such a popular movie.
I
mean,
was reading
it's-
the reviews, and some of the reviews are 10 out of 10s. Like,
Yeah, and you know, it's highly rated on IMDb. It's in the top 250 list. Like, there's obviously something there for people.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just not landing for us right now, or we're missing something.
Yeah,
and
we
you
might-
guys could convince us.
Could very well be missing something.
So, all right.
No
Well,
hostility though,
yeah,
yeah, don't come at us, please.
and we won't come at you.
yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it for the episode. So,
Yeah.
if you guys did enjoy it, please do leave a like and a
I
subscribe.
thought you were gonna say, "Please live, laugh, and love."
Yeah, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, make sure that you know you're getting every episode that's getting uploaded either to YouTube or through our audio platforms on Apple or Spotify or Google or anything like that. We do appreciate all of the support and all the views and all that stuff. It really does help, and it's very encouraging whenever you guys are interacting with the episodes and all that stuff.
For sure.
You guys can get in contact with us through our episode descriptions, whether that be our Instagram or our email or anything like that. Use those platforms as well as YouTube and the rate and review systems on the audio platforms to give us criticisms, suggestions, love, all that stuff. It really does help, and it gives credence to our show to for other people who aren't subscribed or for other people who aren't listeners
Mm-hmm.
to check us out. And some of that stuff does go a long way, so we appreciate you if you do it.
Definitely do.
With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the next film that we're going to be doing in the next episode, which is my pick.
Yes, sir.
And this was a movie I watched in theater. Well,
I was just gonna say I'm ready.
okay.
I've never seen it.
No,
It's
I've
a
never
movie-
seen it either.
I've only watched it once, so this is going to be my rewatch, which I'm excited about. It's a movie I watched in theater that I was pretty excited about, and I think Alexa and I went and saw it at the Maya, if I'm not mistaken. But we walked out of there, and I was like, man, like everything that I was learning at the time to like how to be a good uncle and to like be there for my niece and nephew and stuff like that. And when I left this film, I was like, I gotta be the best uncle that I can be. I gotta be there for these kids and make sure I leave a lasting impact on them.
Yeah.
And I want them to know that I love them.
We have like a similar situation when it comes to. Well, they're a little older, your
Yeah.
niece and nephew, but I also have a niece and nephew, and I wanna be a good uncle to them. I wanna be a good role model and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So anything I can take from this film, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be ready to watch
And
it.
one of the things that I really appreciated about this film was that it tackles, the relationship between an uncle and a nephew. And I've never really seen that done in a film before.
No.
And it does it in such a wholesome way. And it does it in a very interesting way, I think, as well. And I'm really excited to rewatch it and also have you guys watch it for the first time.
Yeah.
It is streaming on Showtime. It's a film called Come On, Come On. I
Yes.
believe it came out in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really good one. It's an all black and white film. So don't let that stray you or, obstruct you from checking this movie out because it does have something to say. And I really enjoyed it. And I think I will also enjoy it again on a rewatch.
It's a 2021 film.
Oh, 2021.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Also starring Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
So I'm
So-
really excited to see him in a role that's like genuinely wholesome.
Yes.
Because the last one would have been in what 2016 with her,
No.
or was
yeah.
that even earlier?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Her
that was,
came out.
That was 2016. And that was a more emotionally,
Like he was
available role.
Yeah.
2013.
2013.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And
that's-
then I think the only movie we've ever talked about with him in it on this
Is
pod was
Joker.
Joker.
It's
yeah,
Joker.
and that's like a very depressing movie.
Yeah.
So I'm really to get into some wholesomeness with this
Yeah.
guy. He
I
has got some range.
yeah.
So I'm
I
really
think it will
excited.
deliver. So I'm really excited to check it out again and see what you guys think.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
go check out Come On, Come On, and tune in next week to hear what we have to say about that film. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.